welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam. Today I'm going to start a little bit of a run with some standard decks after a big run of Modern. Kind of take a look at what this new standard format is doing. I haven't played a ton of it. Very little, actually. I played like an online PTQ and that's about it. So this will be a learning experience for me and hopefully for the rest of you. I'm going to start off with a deck that did pretty well at the Team Open a while back. This is Kellen Pastor's Green-Red Dinosaurs deck. Not super dinosaur heavy. The real payoff that he's trying to take advantage of here is Thunderherd Migration, which I think is one of the best dinosaur payoffs in the format. Rampant Growth is a really powerful card. They don't really give us that kind of straight-up 2-mana ramp anymore. It's still serviceable as a 3-mana ramp spell. So there's just enough dinosaurs in the deck to take advantage of it. I think there's 13, and not too many more because you don't want. Once you start having to pack your deck with more dinosaurs than that, you run out of really good options, and you still want to be playing things like Glorybringer and the good red and green removal spells. So we'll see how consistent it is and how well it goes. This hand is interesting. We are on the play, so hopefully I think I'm going to keep this. And hopefully just my opponent's a creature deck, and I get to braid some things and then Glorybringer them. Most decks have some early creatures to target. This is not a great hand, but it's above the line. If my opponent is a straight-up control deck, then I basically can't win. So hopefully that's not the case. Play it on Montagna. And... okay, basic swamp, mono black aggro. Okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. So I'm gonna make my decision as to whether or not I want to braid this Conquistador now, because these mono black aggro decks often have supernatural stamina in them, and I don't want to get my braid blown up by that. The question, I think the main variable here is the fact that I want to save at least one Abrade for a potential vehicle. These decks usually have Heart of Kiran or Aethersphere Harvester, which means if they play a 2-drop, I'm probably going to want to kill that over the Conquistador. So I'm willing to take one hit here and pass the turn. That way I don't get forced into leaving a better creature behind just so I can Abrade a vehicle. Okay, take 2. Might get Scrapheap Scrounger here, which would make us look a little silly, but that's fine. Like a Gifted Aetherborn, we definitely want to Abrade. Okay, Scrounger, sure. Yeah, getting a little punished. So now I guess I will just Abrade this. I'm thinking about killing the Scrounger, but I'm pretty likely to Abrade another creature anyway, unless they have exactly Aethersphere Harvester next turn or Heart of Kiran. So the Scrounger would just come back. Okay, another Glorybringer is fine because we have our 5th land already. I'd really like to draw like a Rekindling Phoenix for next turn. It's just something to do. I kind of wish we had a Deathgorge Scavenger. That would have been nice. So braid the Scrounger, then exile it. What would they be doing main phase here? I don't think there's a haste creature in these mono black decks. Oh, there is. Okay, then. Well, that's not great for us. So I guess we now just Abrade this Scrounger and look kind of stupid, but I want to keep my life total high. These Glorybringers should take over the game if left unchecked. You could try to Abrade the Yahenni, but all that does is give my opponent an option as to whether or not they want the Yahenni to die or to sack the Scrounger. And giving your opponent options is not something you want to do. So, still a relatively high life total. Feeling pretty good about this game. Yeah, it's not a great draw at this point. It would have been pretty good on turn 3. But this is sort of the first turn where it's bad. This is not the card that when I said I wanted to draw something to do on this turn, Thunderherd Migration was not really the card I was thinking of. So I already have my 3 red needed for Burning Sun's Avatar. I don't see myself needing a 4th red to play 2 double red spells in a turn, so I'll just get a Forest. I might have to like play a green card and use Hash Up Oasis in the same turn, I guess. This is a pretty big turn. My opponent hasn't used a ton of resources being on the draw. And they can get this Scrounger back already. Okay, let's see Siphoner, that's fine. Now they just attack for 2 more. And at this point, I have a sort of engine going. Ooh, that is also pretty good. Because this one blocks, in addition to killing a thing, I guess I'll play it first. And kill this Glintstave Siphoner. The thing I cannot block. Choose target opponent, and choose up to 1 creature. That one, please. Ooh, that is a nice card. I just did so many things. Killed a thing, bolted them, made a 6/6. All in one nice little package. So our opponent's on all spells. I don't really know what they have to deal with this avatar, though. Maybe Walk the Plank? Walk the Plank would be really good against me, yep. Tap 2 mana immediately. That was about as fast as you'll ever see. Oh, and a Bone Picker. Well, Bone Picker we could off with this Glorybringer, but we're under a lot of pressure now. That was a really good turn for our opponents. Yeah, this seems better than thrashing Brontodon. It's 2 damage we took on turn 2, maybe proving to be our undoing. Man. Yeah, that Walk the Plank was really good. Definitely exerting. And deal with that one, please. So we're going to take at least 5 this turn, go to 4. Yeah, we're going to have a hard time. We need to draw some way to double spell, I think. Like Magma Spray would be ideal, but also like Deathgorge Scavenger to pair with Brontodon. I think are our best draws. Another Burning Sun's Avatar would also be pretty good. Oh man, they just double spelled every turn. Never made that 4th land drop. I think we're gonna die. Okay, that is a double spell. But does it actually help us live at this point because they also double spelled? And we get to, yeah, we're at 4. Yeah, I think we're dead. The Abraded Brontodon deal with the 2/3 power things, but they have 2 2-power things there, so exactly dead there, unfortunately. Man, yeah, I guess that 2 damage is sort of looming large. If we're able to live there, if we're at 6, we could block Yahenni. Man, how would we even do that if we're at 6? Maybe just deal with their stuff. Deal with the 2/3 power thing still, and go to 2, and then play another Glorybringer and try to deal with 2 things that way. It'd still be tough, but pretty dead here. Not going to make my opponent attack. That might have close to doing it if we had the extra life, but okay. Opponent is very aggressive. Deathgorge Scavenger is going to be very good, gaining life and dealing with their their early creatures. Same with these sprays. Also Raptor Hatchling and Sweltering Suns. I like all of these cards. Don't really want Carnage Tyrant. Want to lower my curve. What else am I cutting? The struggle part of Struggle to Survive is not a very good removal spell in this matchup, but the Survive half is another way to deal with all their recursive creatures in a longer game. So I kind of like the first copy, even though that may be bad, because we're bringing in a bunch of removal anyway. I don't want to cut a Braid in case they have vehicles. It's just a fine removal spell anyway. Spray and Sweltering Suns are obviously great. I'd like to top out at Burning Suns. I think that's a great card for turning the corner. I like Register Alpha a lot too, just because it's multiple bodies and they both should dominate the combat. Like all their even a 3/3 should at least be able to trade or hold off some smaller things. Maybe I'm supposed to cut Glorybringer. I mean, we saw it in those games and it just wasn't that good. Killing a creature every other turn is not really something I'm super interested in. Rekindling Phoenix, on the other hand, comes down, blocks something, then starts attacking, or just continuously blocks. It gives us a lot of value on the battlefield. It's possible Branchwalker isn't good because of Sweltering Suns. But I do just like early creatures to trade. We're just bringing so much removal that early trading I don't even think is that necessary. Maybe I'm just supposed to bring out Thunderherd Migration. I've boarded out a lot of my high end, actually. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. I've boarded out a couple dinosaurs, or I guess I'm even on dinosaurs, out 2 into, but I've boarded out a lot of the high end of the curve, which is something you do in these matchups. I'm not trying to play this non-interactive game that ramp spells do, and just go to 4/5. My opponent probably has 3 or 4 copies of Walk the Plank after sideboarding. And instead, I'm just going to slow the game down using all this removal and make my land drops naturally. Have 25 anyway. Don't really want to flood. Okay. Yeah, let's cut a couple migrations. Maybe I'm supposed to cut all of them and leave in a couple Glorybringers. Yeah, let's try that. I just have so much early game now with 4 Braid, 4 Spray, 3 Suns, and 5 other 2-drops. That's 16 other cards, and then, yeah, just so much stuff going on before the 4 slot. Yes, I would like to play first. I could also see Chandra. I didn't really think about that until later, but with all this removal, Chandra gets a lot better. Maybe that's just better than Glorybringer too. So I brought the Glorybringers back in. Maybe a couple of them should be Chandras. This is a solid hand. We got 2-drop, 3-drop. If we can just draw some removal, Branchwalker will help us dig towards our better cards. Opponent also keeps 7. Probably should have played Mountain first, actually. Make them think about Magma Spray. Now they really know I don't have it. Okay, that's a very good one in this matchup. Let's see if they break up my curve or go for my more high-impact cards. My guess is they're going to try to break up the curve and get underneath me. Although, I'm not too sad about them not having a 1-drop, but instead trading. And trading resources is something I want to do. Okay, so lose the Branchwalker. How do they scry there? On top. That's lucky. Okay, I drew a land, not great, so just passing the turn. Opponent will probably have a Scrounger here, maybe 2 1-drops. Maybe Gifted Aetherborn, also good in this matchup. Okay, 2 1-drops. No, 1-drop Scrutiny. Okay. Well, we're going to have to draw some gas here because they have successfully ripped our hand apart. And they scry that one to the bottom. Probably an extra land they don't need. Come on, deck. Why you gotta do this to me? I boarded out all my Rampant Growths. This is my deck telling me it's gonna make my land drops, don't worry. Okay. Ruin Raider is a very good one, and they reveal Swamp. Okay, well, a little late on this Abrade to stop them from drawing a card, but I'm still going to do this now in case of Supernatural Stamina. And pass the turn. Kind of looks Looks like they played a different swamp, right? Yeah, so we know they have a swamp in hand because these arts are not matching the one that they had. So that's good at least. They're going to make 5 land drops. Yeah, that makes me feel like they definitely spread a land at the bottom because they're flooding a bit here. They might have even described the night market lookout with the scrutiny on turn 1. Because otherwise I think they would just want to get the 1 drop down. Scrutiny doesn't stop a spray. Siphoner, but they're short in energy, and they've already made their land drop, so they can't play a hub, so that's nice. They're not going to draw a card before we can avatar that down. Let's cycle this main phase in case we hit like a Sweltering Suns or any sort of creature would be great. Or, you know, a land. What is that, 8 lands now? See if our opponent realizes and plays the right swamp this turn. Yep, that's the one, at least one of the ones we... It's the same art as the one we know about. With our opponent flooding as well, we're not in bad shape here. Going to take 4, go to 12, be able to kill the Siphoner, probably get our Avatar Walk the Planked, and then if we can just draw a little bit of gas. Even a Scavenger would be good. It dominates the lookout in combat. We'll gain at least a little bit of life on the way down. Ooh, okay, Bone Picker. That's a pretty good one. So now I have a bit of a decision here with the Avatar. Another land. Do I let them draw an extra card here, or do I leave them with this 3-power flyer? I think I just have to run them out of resources. I can't block the Siphoner anyway, right? So it's only a 1-point difference, and 1 point is certainly worth less than a card. So let's get into 20 finally and deal with that Siphoner. The Bone Picker is annoying, but especially because we're definitely going to walk the plank here. Yep. Another Siphoner. Okay, well, really looking for a Sweltering Suns at this point to catch us back up. We're taking 5 here. They have lethal. No, they're 1 short of. No, lethal on board. There we go. That is a nice one. So let's play this. We could hit a 2-drop here that we want to play. Oh, that'll be a good follow-up at least. Our opponent hasn't drawn any of their sticky threats, which is great for us. So we're pretty much out of the woods in terms of their board, given that we have a backup removal spell here. And it's one that will apply significant pressure. Yes, a Ruin Raider that doesn't get to draw a card. I like that. Don't like another land, but that's okay. 3. So they gained 4 life off that lookout. That could also be relevant here as I'm trying to turn the corner. Okay, no supernatural stamina is good. Yes, land 6. I think that they're holding a land in their hand. Yeah, they're one of the... Ooh, another sweeper, eh? I don't think cycling that is going to appreciably increase my clock. I guess I could find any 3-power creature to lethal next turn, but I'd rather just hold it, even as a 1-for-1 removal spell. What could they have drawn there? Not played. Ooh. Well, I guess we would have had them dead this turn. Instead, we are 1 mana short or 2 damage short, however you look at it. But should be winning this game regardless. The cycling land's coming up huge there to avoid a super flood. Only 8 lands in play. Our opponent flooded a bit as well with 7. Jeez. Bontu's Last Reckoning, I did not. I guess, yeah, that sometimes with the Yeheni builds, they have Reckoning in their board. Okay, well, getting very punished. I guess they would have just Reckoning the last turn. Okay. Yeah, they definitely had a land. But it's if near Deadlands now. So I think I'll cycle this now to try to find some pressure now that I've been... Ooh, that's not a bad one, especially because we... oh, this is yeah, they're both sorceries, so I guess it's not great. It's just going to die to their Deadlands next turn. There we go, and that's multiple things they have to deal with. And they can't... Their other lands aren't going to untap, so they're only have 5 mana to work with next turn. So, me likey. Let's exile Siphoner. Sure. Go to 9 and play Brontodon. 2 creatures. Got another Reckoning there. Maybe I should have just played Brontodon. Then if they draw like a Bone Picker, so that's the one way they punish me, Bone Picker versus Reckoning. Maybe I was supposed to just play Brontodon. Eh. All's well that ends well. Ooh, would have been in rough shape if they did draw it. Another Reckoning there. Okay. So is Chandra better than Glorybringer? We have 8 removal spells that are easily cast off of its +2, which I really like. And it is not vulnerable to Walk the Plank, which I also like. So yeah, you're in. Get in there, Chandra. Even on the draw, I think it would be definite on the play. On the draw, it's still a little scary because my opponent just has so many cheap creatures. But with 8 cheap removal spells and 3 Sweltering Suns, I think Chandra becomes worth it. If I were still committed to the deck's normal game plan here, then Chandra would be a lot worse. Okay, well, this hand is great. Perfect early curve, and we have one of our best sideboard cards and a good follow-up to it, so easy keep. And we'll see what our opponent can do on the play. Okay. Pretty good. Dread Wanderer. Is this going to be all... Okay, Aetherborn. I was going to say, is this going to be all recursive creatures here against my removal hand? I am, I think, interested in playing a Branchwalker here. If they use a removal spell, I'm pretty happy trading Branchwalker for a removal spell as opposed to like a Rekindling Phoenix. And then Sweltering Suns get the 2-for-1 next turn. Or just trade with something like the Aetherborn. Hope they play a couple creatures on their next turn and suns those away. And just digging deeper in my deck at this point. Hit a land so we can't block the Aetherborn, but that's okay. Pretty happy to draw a card there. Harsh Scrutiny, that's a tilt. They're definitely taking the Phoenix, and now they know about Suns. That was definitely the last card I wanted to see there, and they scry to the top. Okay, yeah, I'd probably play another double black card, another Aetherborn. Well, that's going to sort of... Does that force my hand here? I could try to just trade 1-for-1 a bunch. Another land is not good. I don't like just using the Suns as a tempo play here on 3 and then double spelling next turn. I'm definitely not going to get a ton of value out of this now that they've seen it. So let's fire it off. Stop them from gaining a bunch of life on their turn as well so that I can turn the corner more effectively. And the second Dread Wanderer actually isn't that great because it's hard for them to keep returning them. Ooh, another Sweltering Suns, eh? That one... Do I just want to fire it off again as a 2-for-1? My opponent definitely has a spell. If it's like a removal spell, they'd have to draw another creature for me to get value from this Suns. I'm going to get worked over a little bit by Dread Wanderers here, which is not great. Which means I really will just want to find a Deathgorge Scavenger or Struggle. Makes me want to play the Branch Walker. I can just abrade the Aetherborn. Could even take 2 and try to race it back a little bit, but that seems poor. I'm going to go for the Branch Walker play. Let's top that one. That seems pretty good. Let's play that in 2 turns. Although now they've seen it, so they're unlikely to use a removal spell on the Branch Walker. That is a good target for a Braid, though. Block. Take 2 here. I'm not going to use the Sweltering Suns. Just going to abrade the Harvester. They've seen the abrade, so I doubt they crew it, but we'll let them try. Okay, now they can sort of crew it for free. I'm going to respond to the crew here, though, so they can't Supernatural Stamina the Harvester once it's a creature. Unless they want to crew it again and lose the 2-point attack, which is probably a fine play, but at least gives me something. No, that's dead. Now I'll play Burning Sun's Avatar and deal with one of these Conquistadors. And then hopefully next turn they just return Dread Wanderer and we Sweltering Suns and start getting in there. We stabilize at a pretty high life total here. Another removal spell is fine. I'd like another big threat, but that's about it. They don't have a Walk the Plank for the first time, which is also very good. You and Conquistador. They go to 19, which is mildly annoying. Means Avatar's a 4-turn clock, but we have Oasis to fix that, I guess. So yeah, return on Dread Wanderer and no attack, which will be great. Why do they have mana floating? Why do they have no cards in their hand? Oh, they just cast one from their hand. Oh. Looks like they meant to return the one from the graveyard, which would obviously be more mana efficient, and misclicked. But that's even better. Oh. Wow, this is a brave attack. Because I'm going to Suns, I'm just going to prevent the most damage. So let's just block that one and go to 10. Oh, good on them, getting that 2 damage in with that Soul Read. If I draw a land here, I might just... well, not that land. I was going to say, if I drew an untapped land, I might Suns plus snap off the Oasis while they don't have a blocker, just to get the 3 damage in. But here, I will just cycle. And there's the land. Now I can leave up a Braid, though, which isn't bad. Deal with your stuff. And Mushy for 6. Walk the Plank would put us in a tricky spot, but as is, we are very far ahead, despite our opponent drawing exactly 3 lands again. Yeah, that's fine. I don't even really want to abrade that, especially now that I drew this Brontodon. Mushy for 6 again. And play Brontodon. I had enough mana there that I could wait to see if I drew a blocker before spewing off the abrade. Well, I'm going to block, seeing as I have the abrade to respond to anything they have anyway. They might have stamina here. Just be looking for the trade. Or they're really far behind and hoping that for some reason I don't block. Sure, I mean, they had 4 mana to cast the Bone Picker anyway, so... oh, okay, now they get to return it, so... Yeah, that is a free attack then. Okay, that makes sense. My block is still correct, but the attack is free. It's the cost of an untapped 2/1, which isn't... I get which isn't that relevant. I mean, they'd be chumping with it anyway, not getting anywhere. Instead, they're just dead. Excellent. Whew. Well, a matchup there that in a strategic sense, is pretty bad for the big aggro deck, the Dinosaurs deck. Normally, the big aggro deck, you have those cards like Rampant Growth, and you have these bigger creatures. So the smaller aggro deck gets out underneath you, but because you're built like an aggro deck, you don't have as much removal, and you're built to play from ahead, and you're not as good at playing from behind, and you're going to get put behind because of your higher curve. In this case, our opponent also has like several Death Touch creatures to get through our blockers and a good removal spell and Walk the Plank in the matchup, but the sideboard for this deck is very clearly built to beat aggressive decks. Not surprised, given that tournament happened on release weekend, which tends to be more aggressive, but a very wise sideboarding choice. The deck is pretty well set up against mid-range and control decks, just needs the help against aggro, and has a ton of it. And our sideboard cards did a lot of heavy lifting, especially Sweltering Suns. It's one of the things that Brontodon is pretty good for, just being for toughness. So you have an early blocker that they have to deal with, and if they don't, it survives your sweeper. Great. So lost game 1, great sideboard. Crushed games 2 and 3. Easy game. Hope you enjoyed watching that one, and you can come back and see me on Friday. Bye.